Will I ever find a way to escape the deep pain, betrayal, and emotional suffering caused by my family? And will I be able to overcome the feelings of hurt and disappointment that have been weighing me down for so long? Asterisk, the day I found out I had received a full scholarship to college, I remember feeling a strange mix of disbelief and overwhelming joy. I had always dreamed of becoming an English teacher, imagining myself inspiring students and sharing my love of literature, but that moment was short-lived. My mom's reaction was not what I expected. She burst into laughter, loud, mocking, almost derisive, then immediately shot me down with a cold, dismissive voice. "You're not going." It hit me like a punch to the stomach. I couldn't understand her reaction. I thought she'd be proud, happy for me. Instead, she looked at my achievement as a threat to her chaotic world. In the days that followed, her attitude only grew more hostile. She replaced my birth control pills with sugar pills, a calculated move I wouldn't realize until much later. She didn't want me to leave, not just physically, but emotionally, psychologically, and in every way possible. That night, she let her boyfriend crawl into my bed at 2 a.m. with no regard for my safety or comfort. I was only 16, vulnerable, and trapped in a situation I didn't understand fully at the time. When I finally confronted her, her reaction was dismissive. She rolled her eyes, smirked, and told me, "Stop being so dramatic. He's just out of it. He didn't mean it." Her words cut deep. But I stayed silent. What could I say? That I was terrified, that I felt helpless, that my innocence was slipping away. That morning, I woke up with her kids, my younger siblings, clinging to me, calling me mom. I looked at their innocent faces, the trust in their eyes, and I knew I had become the adult in the house. I was only 16, but overnight, I had become the big dad, the one responsible for their safety, their meals, their education, and their little hearts. Our real dad had abandoned us, just vanished one day without so much as a goodbye or a message. No explanation, no closure, just gone. I didn't get the chance to mourn him properly. I barely had time to process the emptiness left behind because life had shifted. It was no longer about me, it was about them. At first, I convinced myself it was temporary. Mom just needed time to get her act together. I told myself that someday things would settle and I could finally focus on my own dreams. But every night, I'd come home exhausted from working or studying, only to be met with her stumbling through the door, vodka breath heavy in the air, her hand adorned with club stamps from the night before. I'd hear her slurred apologies or dismissals, and I'd silently brace myself for whatever chaos was coming next. And then, the worst happened. Our relatives, overwhelmed and exhausted by the chaos, cut us off entirely. My aunt, the one person who had tried to hold onto some shred of support, told me over the phone she was done enabling my mother's destructive behavior. No more babysitting, no more emergency calls, no more help, complete exile. It was as if we'd fallen off the map, forgotten by those who once cared. The only thing that kept me going was a fragile hope that someday I could escape this nightmare and go to college, pursue my dream of teaching, and build a better life for myself and my siblings. My mother promised she'd have her life together by then. She swore she'd fix herself, that she'd get sober, find her footing. And I clung to that promise. When I applied for government benefits, I saw no checks coming. But I wasn't angry. I understood she was in her own fight. During my senior year, I juggled 3 jobs: diner at dawn, retail all day, cleaning offices late into the night. Any way I could to keep us afloat. Somehow, I kept my grades high enough to stay on track. Tyler, the boy I met at the diner, became my silent hero. He saw past my tough exterior into the person struggling to stay afloat. He brought me sandwiches between shifts, listened patiently as I vented, helped with my siblings when I needed a break. One night, after a long, grueling 3rd shift, I fainted while wiping down a table. The paramedics arrived quickly, their faces grim as they ran tests. They told me I was suffering from severe dehydration and anemia, nothing that wouldn't be fixed easily. But during the checkup, they found something that stopped my breath for a moment. 8 weeks pregnant. I stared at the nurse in shock, searching her face for signs it was some elaborate prank. But her expression was serious, clinical. It was real. I'd been on birth control pills, faithfully taken them for months, and yet here I was. When I got home, I tore through every room, searching for the pills I knew should have been in my drawer. I checked the trash, the medicine cabinet, everywhere, nothing. Then a strange intuition made me check my mother's dresser. And that's when I saw the evidence. Some of my birth control pills had been replaced with sugar pills, exactly what I suspected. It was a trap, a cruel plan to keep me under her thumb, to ensure I remained the family's caretaker forever. I realized I faced a stark choice, one that would ripple through all our lives. Over the next 3 days, I secretly documented everything: photos of the pills, notes of her behaviors, copies of benefit documents. Tyler helped me photograph the sugar pills alongside the real birth control packaging. Knowing this evidence could protect us, we researched Medicaid fraud, learning that my mother had been collecting over $2,400 every month in benefits for 5 years, money meant for her children's needs, not her schemes. I discovered she was funneling the money into her own pocket, neglecting her responsibilities, ignoring her children's health and safety. Her suspicion grew when I stopped complaining about exhaustion and instead acted cheerful. She tested me, announcing she was considering applying for disability benefits for my youngest brother, claiming his asthma was severe enough to qualify for extra money. I played along, recording her admissions, secretly gathering proof. Then, she scheduled an appointment for me to get an IUD, trying to control my reproductive choices, claiming I couldn't be trusted with birth control. I pretended to agree while secretly researching how to report her. When she found my notebook tracking the stolen benefits, she confronted me in the kitchen, demanding to know what I was planning. I lied, saying I was just trying to budget better, for the family, but she didn't buy it. She started hiding vital documents, birth certificates, social security cards in a lockbox. I'd already made copies weeks earlier at the library, carefully hiding them away. Then, the nightmare intensified. Jason, my middle brother, developed a severe tooth abscess, swollen, painful, and dangerous. Nicole refused to take him to the dentist, instead selling Medicaid information to others. Cashing in on our coverage, I knew I had to act. I took Jason myself, rushing him to the ER, where the social worker immediately sensed something was wrong. She pulled me aside, asking questions I dreaded answering. I spilled everything about Nicole's fraud, her neglect, her lies, how she'd been selling our benefits, ignoring her children's health. Nicole had already begun to spread rumors. She claimed I was mentally unstable, overworked, exaggerating everything. She even called Tyler's boss, trying to get him fired, accusing him of harassment. When I returned home, I found her changed locks, but I had a spare key hidden months earlier. So I slipped in through the window, grabbing the evidence I'd hidden in the air vent. Nicole caught me in the act, physically trying to stop me, but my youngest sister, Lily, just 8 years old, stepped in. She looked at her mother, then at me, and declared loud enough for everyone to hear, "Mommy's lying." I heard her laughing on the phone about tricking the government. That moment, her bravery gave me the courage to grab the evidence and run. Nicole's last desperate move was calling 911, claiming I was kidnapping the children. But when police arrived, they saw me sitting calmly with my siblings while Nicole was drunk, ranting, and unsteady. They noticed my brother wheezing without his inhaler, Lily's swollen face from the abscess, and started asking questions. Tyler arrived with bank statements showing the benefit fraud, proof of her theft. Nicole tried to blame me, saying I'd filled out the forms, stolen money, and manipulated the system. But I had recordings, proof of her admissions, and photos of the sugar pills and neglect. The investigation revealed she had stolen over $144,000, neglecting her children's health and safety, leaving them in dangerous conditions. She was arrested on multiple charges: fraud, child endangerment, neglect. I was granted emergency custody of my siblings. With Tyler's unwavering support and testimonies from neighbors who had seen the neglect firsthand, the court appointed me as their guardian. Nicole received a 5-year sentence. I used victim compensation funds to finally get my siblings proper medical care, dental work, immunizations, therapy. I finished my GED, then started community college part-time, juggling classes and caring for them. Tyler proposed 6 months later in front of the kids at our small apartment. Thanks to a scholarship designed for student parents, I was able to continue my education without sacrificing my family's stability. The kids thrived, finding stability, health, and hope.